Hi, I am Sanket Nalawade. Welcome to SR Films. Today we are going to meet one passionate biker and IT professional, and why I am taking his interview and why he is so special, you will get to know through his interview. What happens, if a person get a chance to work with his passion, to live with his passion, then nothing better than that, I think so. And that life he is living now. So now we are going to meet Mr. Kalyanaraman. Hi.
Hi, Sanket.
So he is a IT professional and biker. Okay, tell more about yourself now.
Sanket, I have been an IT professional, and that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And I have been into a lot of social activities.
Okay.
And as we go through this interview,
we'll
get
to know. Yeah.
And though my name sounds South Indian, but I'm 100% Punekar.
Punekar.
Okay. मराठी भी खूप शुद्ध ही मी बोलू शकतो.
Yeah. Because you means since your birth, I think you are in Pune, right?
Yeah.
You are educated. Tell something about your education.
So basically, I was born in a town called Kadalur. So it's in Tamil Nadu, next to Pondicherry. So I was born there, but brought up here in Pune. So I did my schooling from Symbiosis. And post that, I did my graduation from Kalmadi College. Now it's Kaveri College of Science and Commerce.
Okay.
And I did my education in commerce.
Yeah.
And people wonder, is like, okay, a guy from commerce background is now into IT.
Yeah.
How did he get there? So when I was in my phase of getting into the commerce field of education, I made sure that I was very determined, and I knew that I want to get into IT.
Okay.
So when I started my education, starting the first year, I enrolled myself in the government polytechnical college.
Okay.
So they had a course where they used to educate students for 6 months. It was a 6 months course.
Okay.
And I learned hardware and networking. So that was my base that I started with, and that I did when I was basically in first year of my college. And from there, the drive, right? It actually started when I finished my class 10. So one of my friend who had his business. So when I finished my class 10 and I was at home during my vacation, he said, "You're at home. Why don't you join me? Right? Just come along. You'll get to learn something."
Yeah, you will.
That's where it all started. And so this friend of mine, he used to take me along with him, and I learned a lot of stuff there.
So that company was related to?
So it was related to hardware. So earlier, nowadays you have everything that comes assembled.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the generation back in the year 2005, 2006. When you had to assemble computers, and assemble computers was a bigger market then. So he had his own business where he used to do computer peripherals and stuff. So when I started going with him, the interest started kicking in. I started realizing, oh, this is something fun, right? I should try and explore this. Till then, I didn't know what I'm going to do in life, right? So I was not a very bright student until class 10. I was the ones who would be at the back. But when I started going with him, I learned a lot of things. I started.
So you will get new exposure.
Yeah.
And that is a new field.
Yeah.
That is hardware.
Yeah.
So you get to know about the core. But thing is that after 10th, you get the exposure to the hardware, right?
Yes.
Then after that, how do you tilted toward the commerce background?
So my basic motive was I wanted a degree. Yeah. Right. Okay. And I was into sports since school time. Yeah. So I used to play volleyball. Yeah. And I always wanted to get into a field or a stream where I didn't have to put a lot of efforts.
Okay.
So I chose the path that was easy, so that I couldn't do the other stuff that I'm doing. So that's where I basically began with all this stuff. So as I was saying, right, when I started my first year of college, I was already Microsoft certified. So then Microsoft was one of those certifications which were very well known, and you could do it, right?
So that certification you completed in during your BCom education?
Yes. During my first year of my education, I had my first certification also.
So as you want to be a graduation degree, you chose to go to BCom.
Yeah.
Because you want to pursue other interest also. So during your BCom, your hardware and all this were also going on.
Yes. So what I used to do is, the known people that I knew, right? So whenever they wanted something, they had a problem, because nowadays Windows has become so smart, right? You just go reset, it's all back. But then you have to format. And I'm talking about the age when you had Windows 98, Windows 2000, right? That's where I started learning from Windows 98.
And at that time, people's literacy level was also low in that one.
Yes.
Because it was literally new to...
Because you didn't have internet then. So YouTube, or you talk about Instagram, all this was not available. And I used to have a dial-up connection at home. So we used to use the landline. So we used to unplug the landline and plug it to a modem. And then I used to use internet. And the internet was so bad.
So bad. No, I realized, because in 2005 I was doing reservation for my journey. So it was a really bad experience.
Yes.
Okay. Then once you finished your BCom, again you did that course, 6 months course for hardware, right?
Yeah.
In computer.
I did it when I finished my class 10 and before getting into my 12th
at that time your friend took you to that.
Yeah. So class 11, 12th, that's the time when I actually went and enrolled myself for that class.
Okay. So
government polytechnical course that I did.
So whether they allow you after 10th?
Yes. Because it was like a vocational course. So anybody could take it. It was not a full-time course. So it was a vocational course. So you could do it.
Okay. So since 10th standard, after finishing your 10th standard, you got rolled into that one.
Yes.
And your interest, your interest goes on increasing in that. Okay, I can go and I can pursue this field.
Yes.
But for a degree purpose, you finished your BCom.
Yes.
Right?
Because the criteria to get into an IT company, right? You should have a degree, to be very honest. And I have worked with people who have done their PhD and they're working in IT, right? So
PhD in other field.
Yeah, in other fields, but they are working here because those fields, they didn't get the right job, or maybe they didn't get the right exposure that they got.
Exposure, or you can say new thing.
Yes.
Like passion or new passion. So
yes.
Okay. So like that, now you are in computer field, right? IT professional.
Yes.
Now we'll come towards your biking passion. So tell me about how it started. Like this started after 10th. So how biking passion started?
So motorcycling, I've always, since my childhood, right? I've always liked motorcycles, or like bikes and stuff. So what brought me here was my cousin. So basically my cousin used to do motorcycling. So looking at him, so it's always like this, right? When you're young, you look at your elders and your elder siblings, and then you're like, okay, I want to become like them. So that's where that brought me together. So I felt, okay, now it's the time. So then I really didn't own a motorcycle. So what I used to do is I should ride my dad's. So my dad had now you won't get to see it also, but he had a Bajaj M50. Bajaj M50. 50cc motorcycle then. It was a moped scooter, right? So I used to ride it at times. But there was one thing that I always was very passionate about when it came to motorcycling is safety, right? I used to always feel. So when I used to go to college also, I used to take my dad's motorcycle when I actually had the valid license and I could ride. When I used to go to college, people used to laugh at me because I used to wear a helmet and go. And everybody else was not wearing a helmet.
Not wearing a helmet.
Yeah. So I always felt that safety comes above everything. So that was something that was there since I started.
So who gave you that kick that safety is important?
So basically the point is, right, when I started riding when I started doing motorcycling, I came across a lot of people, right? When I started riding with them, I realized that one of the things that is very important is helmets, because it's something that's going to save your life, practically. So I always had that in myself, and I used to feel like even when I used to go for tournaments, I used to carry my helmet with me, and I used to always
tournaments of biking
for volleyball tournaments, right? So until I finished my degree and post my degree also around a year, so I enrolled myself for MCom, though I didn't complete it, but I did enroll because I wanted to play. So then when I used to also go for those tournaments, I used to make sure that I always carry a helmet along with me. and that has always been in me. So I
So
feel
your
safety is
father,
important.
your father allowed you to ride his bike, or that?
Yeah. But he didn't allow me when I was not in the right age.
Yeah,
Till the time I
below
didn't
18,
get to 18, he didn't allow me. And I personally would, this is like every dad would do that, right? Within your vicinity, he'll make you sit in the front and just make you hold and make you feel okay, you're riding it. Though he's riding it.
No,
But-
that is a
but
good thing.
you
But
would
thing
always
is that, okay, so you started riding your father's moped, that bike,
Yeah.
and after that, and the safety, it came through your, means we can say from your gut. You know, we should be careful about our life.
Yeah.
It is important.
Yeah.
Because thing is that sometimes happens. No, I have seen that guy, and he's really so much curious about safety, or very eager. Means what we call that. He is so safe riding. While riding, he is using helmet and all the gear. So I should also.
Yes.
Because life is important.
Yes.
Health is important.
Yes.
So like that. So it came through your gut. We can say,
Yes.
no, I should be safe.
Yes.
So through that, your interest goes on rising.
Yeah.
So how it takes shape now? Tell me, passion.
So basically what happened is like I also lost a lot of my close relatives in road accidents.
Okay.
And though it was not their fault, right? So basically that's where I started feeling, and the cousin that I talked about, from whom I got inspired. So he also met up with an accident which was very severe. So
Oh, sorry.
though he had all the gears, but not his fault, someone else's fault. So that's where I started feeling, and before that I used to do it. So when I was, I'm just taking a bit back, when I started riding and when I used to go to college and my friends used to make fun, I used to educate them. I used to tell them that you need to wear a helmet. And then what we used to do is, and I'm sure everybody would have done sometime during their life, is bunk a day in college and then go to Lonavala or go to a close by place.
Biking.
Yeah.
Short trips.
Yeah, short trips, right? So I have done that also, right? So I've jumped out of college and bunked a lot of lectures and gone to these places and stuff. But I've always made sure that I follow safety. And I've seen my friends coming without helmets, right? So I should educate them. I should tell them you should start wearing. But it's like it has to come from yourself.
Yes,
as it comes.
And that age now, you can say that college age. Okay, what happens? I can do it.
Yeah. True.
That hot blood, we can say.
Yes.
that is there. So, so they are not tilted towards their safety.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since that journey is going on, biking journey.
Yes.
So how then tell us next step now, how it happens.
So then what happened is, like, when I started working in 2010, I got my first motorcycle. And
you purchased on your own?
Yeah. So basically what happened, I can't say it was all that I paid in, but my sister, right? So as they say, right, you need your family to be with you, or else you can't go ahead with any of your passions, right? So my sister said, you're so passionate, right? You go get a motorcycle for yourself. So I got my first motorcycle then, and she was the one who gave me the initial payment to go. So basically, that's where I got my first motorcycle, and I still have it. I got a classic 350.
Classic 350 Bullet, Royal Enfield.
And that's where I believe, like, sometimes, right, your passion gives you a complete 360-degree turn in your life. And that motorcycle has brought me here today, right? So that's why I still have that motorcycle, and I'll make sure that.
So guys, Mr. Kalyanaraman and I, we both live in same society, so I know his bike and everything. Okay, so your journey started. Then in 2010, you purchased classic 350. So it was a kick, button start, or it was a kick at the time also?
So then, right, so this model was the first batch that they had brought up, and this was a complete revolution for the company. So basically what they did is they always had the gear on the left and the brake on the left and the gear on the right. Right?
Right.
Bullet, so now with this thing, what they did is they came up with the gear on the left and the brakes on the right.
Brakes on the right, which is actually going on. Yes, world accepted, we can say.
So all the other manufacturers, motorcycle manufacturers, had the same
design. Design they had actually.
So when they came up with that, I believe this was a model that I liked because it had a retro look, and I felt like that I liked it more than the other models, because before that also they had a lot of models that they were selling, but I felt this was something that I liked personally, so I made sure that I go and.
So at that time, how many bikes were available in the market? Many two-wheelers?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So basically, when I started motorcycling, right, and when I booked the bike, so then they had a waiting period. So you had to wait for 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. So that was that was a basic waiting period that they had, and so everybody would want it fast, right? I booked it, and it's not going to come soon. So I started putting all the contacts that I could to try and influence and get a motorcycle soon. And that was a newly launched model, and they were doing very good as they launched it. So I wanted to make sure that I get it soon. And on the roads, there were very few motorcycles, and I used to like a other model, which was an Electra. But when the Classic came in, I started losing interest for it.
Yeah. So because as you are interested, your interest was growing. You may be looking for, or you may be studying about other these which models are there in the market, which bikes are which bike is good. So you may get influenced by any other, like you are telling Electra, right?
Yeah. So, because then, right, you didn't have this internet as wide as this.
Yeah.
So, it was very difficult to have research going online and doing research just as we do it now. So, now you've got ChatGPT, you just put in a keyword and it gives you an entire history about everything, right? So, now then we didn't have that. So, you had to really visit the showrooms and understand and stuff. And the guy who's selling it, whatever he says is the truth. Because you don't know, right?
You cannot cross-check anywhere.
You couldn't. And basically, then when I used to see a motorcycle pass on the road, a Royal Enfield, and I used to feel proud. And trust me, like there are a lot of brands that are there now, but Royal Enfield had its own charm, irrespective of
that firing,
all the problems that they had. Yes.
Pat, that old also.
So now it's become worse because people are now kind of misusing it. But practically, I feel over the time, right, then it had that aspiration. People used to aspire to go and buy that brand because it had an elite status then. Right? Yeah. So now you've got better motorcycles that come up in the market.
So as you were tilted towards the safety also, and you purchased your first bike in 2010. So immediately you went to purchase all the gears, or what? At that time gears were available? What?
Yes, gears were very much available, but as I said, right, I didn't have that knowledge, to be very honest. I had to, because I don't know, like I knew you have to wear a helmet, you have to wear gloves, but I didn't know about riding jackets, or I didn't know how to buy pants, what kind of boots you should go for. Biking shoes. So that was an area that you could only learn from people who are already in that space, right? So as I got my motorcycle, right, I joined a club in Pune.
Yeah, at that time in 2010.
Yeah.
There was a club?
Yeah, the
Royal Enfield Club.
Yeah. So this club, if I'm not wrong, it started somewhere in 2005, I guess.
Okay.
So it's the oldest club in Pune. And exclusively Royal Enfield. Yeah, and now there are like more than 3,000 plus clubs in Pune.
Now
there are 3 people coming together, they have formed a club. So the club culture is now changing, right? So then it was a different culture. So what we used to do is the senior riders in the group would make sure that they educate the younger riders. So that was a culture that we had.
In that Royal Enfield Club?
Yes.
They had a culture?
Yes. And the club was a club that would always make sure that everybody comes together. We would not leave anybody behind, and whenever we ride also, right, we always have a formation. So it's not that...
that we will come on that point afterwards. But about gears. So you were unaware about the gears available. But when you joined that club, Royal Enfield Club, then you realized, then your seniors told you that no, these gears are available, so you have to go for it as a safety purpose, right?
Yes.
So then you purchased all the gears.
So then I had a helmet that I knew. I had gloves. And gloves were also very basic. Now you have better gloves. But then I really didn't have the great of the greatest gears. But I had something that I knew about, and I made sure that I used. So I made sure that because then, right, because you used to get helmets then also, right? But then you couldn't really know whether the helmet is genuine but it's not genuine.
That
Now,
was one
now
point.
you have a lot of education around it, a lot of awareness. You can go to the website of the brand and look for the stores that they sell in, their distributors and stuff. Then you don't have that option. So what I did is, I had one of my uncle who used to work in the defense.
Okay.
So I requested him to get one for me. So that I get the genuine stuff and then I don't get conned with it, right? So when I started motorcycling, I started learning about gears, right? So a lot of bikers nowadays buy motorcycles, but they don't spend on the gears. And
that is a point will come around. Now, okay, once you joined that club, then you purchased the gears.
yes,
Then your biking journey started.
yes,
Means now in college days you were going till Lonavala or local biking because in Pune so many forts are there around, so you can go and come back within a half day. I am also having bike, so I also go. But here this go to Rajgarh, then Lonavala and come back. So that is a small biking trip, you can say. But as you joined that club, did you arrange or they arranged long journeys biking?
Yes. So the club would have a ride every weekend, and then the club would make sure that people who want to join in, they're educated about the ride, and then we would do that ride. So that would be a weekend ride. Then you would have rides that you would do for longer periods, right? Then you would go to Goa, you would go to different destinations and stuff. So those rides would be longer ones. So you had that opportunity to join any of those rides as and when you are free. Because then I used to also work, and I used to work in shifts then.
So because that is your IT professional means you may not have more time also.
Yes.
For that. So how did you manage that one?
So what I used to do, working in a 24/7 environment, right? I used to do night shifts also. So when and I don't know whether it's my fate that whenever I have a nice plan where I'm very excited to go, that week I'll have to do a night shift.
Night shift.
So
how do you manage that?
So what I used to do is, I used to do the night shift, and when I get back on the early morning Saturday, I used to get back home after the shift on Friday. And Saturday morning, I used to come home, freshen up, and I used to get on the ride. So I did that for a longer period of time.
So you will have Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. Monday night again join that one. Right? So you are having that much period. So for this you go out cities also like Goa and
Yes. So basically what happens is going on a longer trip, right? I then being young and being in that age where you are like enthusiastic, that's when you want to start riding and stuff. You would go a mile extra.
Alright.
Even if you feel that fatigue, even if you feel that okay, I can't do it, I'll say no, I'll stretch it. So now if you ask me, I would not ride if I'm not comfortable.
No. Now that, but at that time it was the starting and it is your passion. One thing.
Correct.
Other thing is anything, if you do anything, if you want to do that for longer period as a passion, there will be fatigue after some time.
Yes.
If you enjoy that fatigue, then you win.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So and biking means, but in that your club, do you bike alone? Means on your bike you are only one or pillion rider also there?
So pillion, you can always have a pillion also. So the club does not have this thing, but the club had a mandate saying if you are not in your gears and if you even miss one gear, they'll send you back home.
Send you back home.
Yeah.
That much strict?
Yes. They're super strict. And because the reason is, if one person meets up with an incident, the entire club has to wait for him. So everybody is getting ruined, right? Their experience is getting ruined. So the club made sure that if I am not in gear, even if I forget my gloves, they'll send me back home. And that was the culture. So the reason I'm emphasizing more on this is because the biking culture has now changed. Now it's more about Instagram, how many photographs I put in, how fast I cover a distance. Then it was not that game. Then it was fun, pure fun. If you ask me for pictures, I would hardly have 10-15 pictures. Because then we never used to click pictures, and then it was not a thing that you would always go and click pictures. You would experience it with your eyes. And basically, with the change, the shift in the biking community, right? We people who used to ride in the past are still connected. So that group is still connected.
So still connected, and also due to this discipline, you get that discipline in your life. No,
Yes.
bike. I want to go to bike. Okay, take at least helmet.
Yes.
Then okay, if you go for longer distance, then wear all the gears and then go. Right.
Yes. True.
So this came to your mind. Okay. So how many places you have visited in biking? Can you?
So I have covered extensively across the country.
Across the country?
Yeah. And I have made sure that I explore places. There are still places, because India, a lot of people feel like we should go out of India to explore. But I feel India has so much to offer. You don't have to step out of India, at least in this life of yours, right?
No.
There's so much of change, so much of diversity, so much of this thing. And
atmosphere also, we can say.
Exactly. And honestly speaking, right, I as a person, I was very notorious when I was in school. Right? As I told you, I was not very studious and I was not very good at grades. And I was very notorious in doing all the stuff that I could do as a kid. But when I started motorcycling and when I started exploring places, that's where there was a change in myself. So they always say, right, when you travel, you learn a lot of things. And when I started meeting people, I started learning. I started taking a lot of good qualities that I could take. And I believe that has really helped me in shaping things that I am.
So
doing.
all over India means we can say Kashmir, Kanyakumari, Goa.
Yeah. And so there are still a couple of places that I have not touched. So the Northeast is something that I have not touched.
Okay.
Yeah. So Seven Sisters and stuff. But I would love to do that sometime. But basically, there have been places where I've touched and been there multiple times. And if you talk about places in Maharashtra, it's like I have made sure that I have been there multiple times.
So sometimes you may go for short trip.
Yes.
You may go for longer trip.
Yes.
So one point now, since you started biking in 2010, today is 2015, 25. So this 50, how many years? 15 years, right?
Yes.
So how this biking culture changed? Can you just tell something?
Yeah. So as I said, right. So the culture was as a group, right. So we used to always make sure that anybody who joins the club is a part of the family. So it used to be a family.
Family.
Yeah. And that family is still there. So I still meet those bikers and stuff. So basically, the culture now is more of how can I be better than another club. So it's a competition between clubs.
Okay.
But it's no longer a competition between inside your club. So earlier we used to have a competition within our club.
Our club.
and the competition used to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like now I am very junior. I want to get to a mid-level rider.
So there are levels also?
Yes.
Senior, middle. How many levels?
So basically, every club would have someone who's junior, who's done very basic rides. So the club would make sure that those people start learning things before they start doing. See, a lot of people feel nowadays the reason we are seeing these many accidents is just because people don't have the experience, right? People buy a motorcycle, the next day they feel, no, I should do Leh Ladakh. And that's the benchmark that people feel. But to be honest, that is not as easy as we think. It's not an easy game to get there, right? It's like you need to be on the motorcycle when you go from, for example, if you start from Pune and you want to go to Leh, for you to get there, it will take you 3 to 4 days, right? Now with experienced riders. But when you're not experienced, every 100 kilometers, you will not be able to ride beyond that. Every 100 to 150 kilometers, you start feeling the fatigue. So bikers nowadays have not done those smaller trips. So we used to, when I joined in, as I said, juniors. So the junior riders would always do smaller trips in the beginning. Okay. So you would not do very long trips because the reason is you're not that experienced enough to do it. And I believe that's how it is, right? If you ask a kid who's 5 years old to go and write an essay, he can't do it because he has to take the small steps. And that is needed. And people nowadays feel, okay, I do a course, I get to someone who teaches me about this, next day I can do it. you've learnt it, but your body is not ready for it.
Not ready.
Right?
So your stamina counts. So
Everything.
with practice, you will build up your stamina, then different experiences.
Yes.
That is also one thing, na? Because while riding, you will get so many different experiences with the atmosphere, with your gear, with your bike, and with your colleagues. So how to handle it.
Yeah.
And after that, once you have that experience, you can go for longer ride, right?
Yeah. And riding a motorcycle normally is okay without the gears. With the helmet is okay. But when you put on your gears, though the gears are ventilated and stuff, but still it is very difficult. At today's condition, 40, 42 degrees, we are sitting in Pune. And I remember times when summers used to be 30, 25, 30. 30, we would say, oh, it's so hot in Pune.
So hot in Pune.
Yeah. So now it's just gone beyond that. And in this condition, if you start wearing gears and riding, you're going to dehydrate. And people make sure that during the ride, so in the biking culture, as you asked, right? So one major thing that I feel that has changed is people try to compete. Compete in the way, like, for example, if I do Goa from here in 10 hours, there's someone who wants to do it in 9 hours. Because he feels, if I don't do it in 9 hours, I have not beaten this guy's record.
Oh. So that jealousy, we can say, or competition, we can say what that.
Yeah, it's just because now, see, we are not living in a world right now, which is like people used to in the past. I remember friends used to get in home at 12 p.m. To wish you on your birthday, celebrate and stuff. Now 12 a.m. I'm sorry. So 12 a.m. they send you a message on Instagram. They send you a message on WhatsApp saying, "Okay, happy birthday." So things have reduced down to that, right? So the generation that we were in, we used to value human life. We used to value human time. But now it is not like that. Now everybody is busy in their life. Everybody is...
No, not busy. We can say that, okay, some guys may be thinking that, okay, why should I go to his home and wish?
Correct.
Okay, I can message him. Let's see.
Yeah.
So that is also one point. We can see the advantage or disadvantage of the new technology or media level.
Yeah.
Okay, so this biking structure changed, right?
Yes.
So now you are connected to only that club or other clubs also. Can you join different clubs?
Yeah. So we were not binded to a club, right? You're open to join. So the club that I was in the very beginning, I'm not with them now. So I'm with a club, with a different club.
Another club now.
So you can always be with the people that you want. But it's not that when I move out of the club, I don't talk to these people. So that's not there. So the culture now is like that, but in the past it was not like that.
It was not like that.
So the people that I was riding in the past, when I started, I learned from people. I still ride with them. I still go hang around with them. So that is still there. So that culture has not changed.
Okay, one thing. Other thing is now you are having. I think now you have purchased another bike, like Royal Enfield Himalayan, right?
Yeah.
So now what do you think that that classic 350, and now you are having so many models available with Royal Enfield or others also, like Harley Davidson, you can say, due to globalization. All these big guys are there now. So now still you are in love with that classic 350?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in love with it. The reason is right. I have a lot of memories with it. So to be very honest, right now this has become normal. So to just give you a quick gist, right? Anything that we do in our life for the first time is always memorable.
Right? So in that
carries a lot of memories.
You are in that attachment.
Yeah. And
so, but still you like Royal Enfield. So have you tried other bikes?
Yeah. So I have tried other motorcycles, but the love for Royal Enfield has always been there, is because it's an Indian make, first thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, when we talk about Royal Enfield, though it has tons of problems, right? Owning a Royal Enfield, so there are other brands that mocked Royal Enfield, saying it's very difficult to maintain, right? It's like an elephant at home. With all those things, the love for it has always been there. So that's the reason the recent motorcycle that I got in from Royal Enfield, because I was waiting to get that.
Himalayan.
Because it has its own charm, it has its own it has its own presence, right? When you're on the road, it has its own presence. And with the amount of engineering that I've put in the new models that they're coming in, I believe they've done a wonderful job.
Wonderful job. Now they have come up with new models, and really good models.
Yeah.
We are also seeing on the road.
Yeah.
One thing. Other thing, now you are having 15 years of this biking, right? Now also you arrange this biking.
Yeah. So what we do is, right, so we do these tours. So there are events that happen in Goa also every year. You must have heard about it. So these events happen that are specific to models also. So Royal Enfield has its own event also that they do in Goa. So we make sure that we arrange a group of people who are interested, like-minded, and we get together.
Okay.
So when we ride from here, we make sure that we follow all the rules on the road, because that is our main motive. So it's not about reaching a destination, it's about reaching the destination safe, and getting back safe, right? That is the main intention. And the intention is about enjoying that travel. It should not be like, okay, you have started from here and half the distance you've covered, and then you feel, why did I even come here, right? Then that's not fun.
Not fun, yeah. So you, while going, let's say you are 10 are there or 25 people, or you can say anyone. So you, one may be the leader, right?
Yes.
He decide, okay, now next stop will be this one.
Yes.
50 kilometer or 100 kilometer, we are going to stop there.
Yes.
So everybody stops there, everybody comes there, they have inquiry with everyone, okay, how do you feel, any problem, something, and then you go for the next destiny, right?
Yeah.
Like this, you reach there.
Yeah.
So this get together of like means you can say this in Goa, this function. What they do generally?
Okay.
They, after meeting.
So to just give you a gist of how we ride right on the road. So what we do is, like, we have a pilot who's kind of leading the ride, and then we have a tail. So the tail is the one who is sacrificing everything. He's like your mother, right? She will feed the entire family, and whatever is left over, she'll eat it. It's just like a mother who is coming with you, right? So she'll make sure that he'll make sure, and we also have women bikers. So basically it would be a mix of people. It's not that only men are riding. It will be women also are riding with us. So the last person who's the tail, it's his responsibility to make sure everybody ahead of him is ahead of him. No one is getting behind him. He'll make sure if someone stops, he will stop. He'll try and help them.
When he will start,
he holds the maximum responsibility. The guy in the front, he is got responsibility, but the guy at the tail is more responsible than the one in the front. So he has to make sure that everybody is coming together. So nowadays, earlier we didn't have this. So nowadays you have intercom systems. You have a lot of devices that you can use. So you can communicate, and you can, so it's in your helmet. So you don't really have to kind of get distracted and stuff. And we make sure that we utilize that to make sure everybody is safe.
This is the, we can say, advantage of the technology.
Yes.
So can you share any experience, like when something happened and how you tackle that incident?
So there are many experiences, but one that it's in my mind is my sister, right? I said the first motorcycle, she helped me get it. So I want to take her on a ride.
Okay.
And I was with my club, right? So I said, let's go on this ride on a weekend. And she was also working then. So we said, okay, we go together. So it was not very fast. We went to Lavasa from there, right?
Okay.
It was a short ride. So what happened is, they say, right, it's like Marathi doesn't want the kawa basa and fandi tutayla.
Right.
So I planned this and I said, let's go together. We went from here with the club, and when we were heading towards Lavasa, had a flat tire. Right? And and nowadays it's okay. Now you have RSA and stuff. Then you really didn't have all these things, right? You would have RSA within the city. When you go out of the city, you didn't have that. So what happened is, my sister, that was first ride, and something like this is happening, and she's worried. Oh, what is this guy going to do now? But trust me, that is where the biking culture comes together. The club, members from my club who were senior, they stopped, they helped me take the wheel out. And one good thing about this club is, which I missed telling you, is we used to do workshops. So not every weekend we're going to ride. There'll be weekends when we're going to learn things. How to fix your tire, how to fix your chain. So for example, the tension of the chain, if it's loose, how do you fix it on the ride? How do you set your brakes, right? Then there would be all basic things. How do you change your oil? How do you remove your oil filter? If your bike breaks down, how do you change the fuse? How do you check for any electrical failures? So all these basic things they used to teach us.
All the basic things.
So we used to have workshops, right? So the club, being in the club, knowing things, I could take the wheel off. Getting the wheel off, one of the riders helped me take the wheel to the closest puncture shop where we got the puncture fit. We came back, put the wheel. The club was on the top. We went together. We had a good time. And when we were returning, right, there's a small place where we generally used to stop, and then we used to do a small trail on it. And they say, right, I went on the trail where I've done in the past also. I went up and I crashed.
Crashed?
Yeah.
What happened?
So it was a uphill.
Uphill, yeah.
And it is not a road. Basically, it was so there's a small bump there, which I didn't notice as I was climbing up, and my front wheel hit on it, and I lost balance, and I fell. But the club made sure that I am safe, and that is a culture that I learned motorcycling. So now when someone talks to me or tells me about riding and motorcycling, it takes me back to the days when I learned from
people. So at that time when you crashed, with your sister you crashed?
No. I was alone, and we were doing the trail and
another journey.
So my sister was like, she was always, very honestly, when you lose a lot of people around you in road accidents, the family is worried. Like, okay, now he's on a ride. So now you have GPS systems in your motorcycle. You've got so many tracking devices, right? So it's very easy for your family to track your movements. Then those days you don't really have those things. So my family used to be worried. Like, okay, he's doing motorcycling, and the people that he's riding with, because they knew that I used to ride with these people, but they didn't know how we do and stuff, because they didn't never see it. They
have not seen, because as you are saying that is the point, that club, when you go for running, it is the one house, like members, teamwork, we can say one team.
Yeah.
So anybody will get hampered with anything, everybody will help.
Yes.
So that is the main culture, and hence you enjoy riding in that.
Yeah. Right? And when she came to that ride, she realized, okay, he's with good people.
Good people. So now no
need to worry about
now.
Yeah. And then post that, it was never, so they've never, so as I said, right, your family support is very important. If your family is not supportive, so my parents, right, even at this age, they are never dependent on me. Because my day is so packed that I don't have time to look at things at home. But my parents are independent. They make sure that they get things done for themselves, and they have never bothered me for anything, saying, okay, now don't do this. So there are days when I'm at home, they'll ask me, why not doing
why are you so free? So friends, now we are discussing with Mr. Kalyanaraman. Now we discussed about his profession and now passion. In the next part, we will discuss about how this passion turns into mission and how he is helping for the welfare of the society. Till that time, namaskar.